Support for the CU podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who are the best in below-the-waist grooming.
That's right, the best. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped.
Let me tell you, Ian, we've all had little accidents here and there in the past with the straight edge. I know I have. Maybe there was some blood involved. Tissues have to cover up the carnage. Well, with the Lawnmower 3.0, that painful memory or two will be long gone.
That's right, and one of the coolest features is an LED light so you can see where you're going. You won't have any problems like Pat described. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, and one of my favorite things, the battery life, 90 minutes. It lasts forever. Have you ever been in the middle of a shave of any kind and had your trimmer run out of juice?
I'm not going to judge. Maybe your hedges are a little bit more wily than others. You need that extra time. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off with free shipping with the code CU Podcast at manscaped.com. Level up your hygiene routine with only the best manscaping tools. Again, go to manscaped.com and use code CU Podcast for 20% off and free shipping. Your balls are going to thank you. Let's talk a little GameStop news. So, not sure how much mileage we can get out of this, but we'll see.
I thought we were actually just axing this one. But yeah, GameStop, they're closing hundreds more stores. They have done poorly. They will continue to do poorly. And then they will go out of business. That's what's going to happen. So GameStop is...
TLRDR. I can't say it. That's a TLDR.
Too long, did not read. TLDR. So GameStop is closing. The news is, this was from CNN. GameStop is closing about 100 more stores than it originally planned, with the struggling retailer warning of more closures next year. So they're going to be closing between 400 and 450 stores globally. That was initially thought to be about 300. That has since increased.
They said 320 back in March.
Okay.
That was before, obviously, the shutdowns really started to happen everywhere. It was about the time. And obviously, things weren't looking good for them anyway with closures happening the last couple of years. But I guess with how bad things have been, and obviously stores are back open a lot of places, but they took a big hit for months. So let's see. He said the GameStop Chief Financial Officer, Jim Bell, like that nice simple name, said in the call that the closures will allow us to more efficiently and profitably service our customers. He added, there are more to do, meaning closures in 2021 as well. This is what I said last year and earlier this year, I think, when we talked about this. Whenever they give you a number, it's always going to be worse.
Yeah.
It's always going to be worse. They're just softening the blow for you a little bit. It'll be 500 or no, it'll be 600 or 700 probably. Like they say between 4 and 450, it'll be more than that next year. I'll confidently say that the unless the hardware sales are gangbusters this year, the new hardware, and people don't just buying from Amazon and Target and Best Buy and Walmart, I think they'll be closing a lot more. I think they'll keep them open just so they can get those extra sales in next year.
I do too. Yeah. But I think after that, they really. I think after that, after that, there's nothing to keep them pushing at the start of it's been bad the past couple of years, but we've always known that, okay, you've got the Switch coming out now. The Switch is out and it's new now. Okay, we're looking at the next generation of PlayStation and Xbox systems, but after that comes out, what is there?
I mean, it won't even have a lot of software. It's obviously is more digital every year, but yeah, Microsoft's not even going to have a lot of new software to push.
No, and that's going to go to what I was going to say next. I don't think that this, and it's a different story entirely, but I don't think that the sales for these new consoles are going to be gangbusters this year anywhere, let alone for GameStop.
Sure.
I mean, Sony already did their thing where we didn't really talk about it, but they emailed out, basically you could sign up for you could join the mailing list, put your PlayStation Network ID in there, and based on who knows what, but they might contact you to be first in line to pre-order the new system. So Sony's actually getting ahead of that, and it looks like they're kind of lining people up for direct sales, so skipping over the GameStop entirely.
Well, plus because we know these systems are going to be super expensive, they want to recoup as many pennies as they can on these consoles.
Right. So if they're selling directly, if that's what they're doing, then they're going to make more money than going through GameStop. But yeah, without all of these, on Microsoft, no exclusives. Sony's got some, but there's not a whole lot of new stuff, right away for these systems anyways. I think it's going to be fairly slow adoption for these new systems, yes. Which is only going to be, to bring it back to the main topic, it's only going to be bad for GameStop this year. I really don't see these new systems being much of a boon to GameStop at all.
Yeah, especially if Sony is taking a hit on them, they're going to charge as much as they can to GameStop and say, you're not going to make that much money on these. Take it or leave it. Right. Let's see. This is interesting. I brought this up to you yesterday on the phone. Second quarter online sales soared 800%, amounting to 20% of its total sales. However, its revenue came in below analysts' expectations and same-store sales, which were affected by temporary closures because of the virus. So analysts still thought the online sales would do better than what they did. So it declined 12.7%. Sent shares down more than 10% in pre-market trading. I don't like to talk about the shares too much in GameStop because it's so wacky and what was happening when you hear, oh, the guy from Chewy bought some shares, that means GameStop is saved. It doesn't. All the shares means is that people have confidence in the company or not. That's exactly. It has no relation to the future. The future, it can relate, but it does not necessarily relate to the future health of a company. That's why you have booms and busts. That's why you have Pets.com, being valued for $100 million, and then it's gone 3 months later because people realize, oh, this company isn't making money. Why is this stock so much money? I mean, so you don't listen to anyone that says, oh, the stock is up. That means GameStop is saved. It doesn't mean a damn thing because at the end of the day, you have to make money or not.
Yeah,
that's all that matters. So let's see. So right now they have 5,100 stores. 600 fewer than did last year. So it went down almost 10%. You lose Pat math, you lose 500 more stores. That's at least that's another 10% down. Now you're down to like 4,500. Probably by early first quarter next year, February, March, we'll just say. You'll have 4,500 stores worldwide. And then we'll see what happens then. I think it'll be now we're going to close 1,000 stores or 2,000 stores. Like, I don't think it's going to slow. It's just going to be more and more. And I'm not saying GameStop can't survive in some capacity, but I don't know. I guess if you totally restructured the company, you kept like let's just say a very small amount of stores, the most successful stores, maybe it would work. Maybe.
I've been thinking about it a lot, in the differences between, game stores like Luna that sell everything, in all generations, and game stores like GameStop, and GameStop can't. They're not able to do the retro market. They've already proven that.
Oh, we've gotten tons of topics out of that. How bad that was.
They can't do it. So they're left with current generation games, and I think we're at the point where digital is overtaking the sales enough that I don't see a future for GameStop as a standalone video game store. I've gone over it in my head a bunch, and I literally just don't see a situation where in 10 years, 5 years, maybe even 2 years, we still have GameStop. A video game section at a place like Target is more than what we need at this point for the amount of physical sales that people are doing. You don't need one place where that's all you're getting is video games anymore. It just doesn't make sense. It's especially with the like I said, the move to digital, it's not a specialist enough store. You just don't have enough people that are going to require the service that GameStop offers.
And maybe they try to change it up with the user experience store that they tried. Remember earlier in the year they piloted that at 1 or 2 locations. Like, that's interesting, but is that really gonna turn the dial enough to get people to come back? Oh, now you can actually play the games at a table and buy snacks. It's like that's cute if your business is already doing okay. Like, that's not going to turn it around.
Right. That's one of those things where, like, that's not a bad idea, but that's something that you would have had to have been doing all along, and now people will be like, well, I don't buy games at GameStop anymore, but it's still where I go to play Pokemon TCG or something like that with people. But you can't just suddenly make your company that when people have all along already had local comic book stores, board game shops where they go, LAN centers where they go and do that. You can't introduce that now and suddenly have people think of your store as that.
Maybe I'm being overly optimistic because, I'm an idiot, Ian, because I'm thinking, even if there's 500 stores left, they're still got to make their money off of used games, and there will be less and less used games going forward that are physical coming in, and that's how they make the profit margin. So, yeah, it's done. It's just how many years is going to be.
And used games is with digital. When digital started, it was nightmarish. Like, games were $59.99. They were full retail. They never went on sale ever, at all. And they didn't drop in price ever really either. So like you could go and get a new copy of, game X, Y, or Z at GameStop for maybe $19.99 or $29.99 after it had been out for a long time. But that digital copy was still always going to be $59.99. The online marketplace on Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo systems, they've really kind of... They stuck with that kind of bullshit model for a while, but it's really changed in the past few years. Now you don't get used games, but you get your games deeply discounted all the time.
Yeah.
You've got summer sales where, $60 games are on sale for $20, with, all their DLC. You get, your $15 and your $20 indie games going on sale for $5. So you don't need used games when you're not getting any credit in return for them, which sucks, but you are able...
The value proposition is closer.
But right, exactly.
It's not as wide as it used to be.
Right. You now can at least... You will still have to pay money for these games, but you can now get them for much cheaper, far more often than you could, which has alleviated some of the problems people have with digital only.
Once I saw Nintendo starting running sales, what happened? The past few years, they started running sales every now and then. I was like, okay, if Nintendo's getting on board with this, then this is going to be around to stay.
Yeah.
Once Nintendo, because
Nintendo sales are typically Nintendo, though. I mean, it's like, the $60 game is now $50.92.
They do a little better sometimes. They get $20 off a game 3 or 4 years old. But but once Nintendo's starting to see that, okay, we got to start doing sales, they realize that they have to compete as well, and it makes sense to do that. So I'm crazy. I think this is going to go like Toys R Us. The more I think about it, they're gonna sell off assets. Someone's gonna get the trademark, and they're going to reopen pop-up stores and do something like that. Or maybe go how Circuit City tried to do once they went out of business, and just be an online retailer under someone else's banner. Like Amazon buys them out and they have a GameStop.com, but it's really Amazon running it.
Right. It's something like that. It's just Amazon's online game sales now known as GameStop.
Yes. I think that's where this is going to end up. But how it is right now, I mean, thousands of stores worldwide, or maybe in some countries it makes sense to have them, but not in the U.S., not in North America, it ain't going to make sense. And probably most of Europe, it probably won't.
I mean, we talk about online only stuff. In middle America, I could see there still being a need for a handful of stores, but those are the people who have already moved to shopping by mail. So never mind. Anytime that I try to think of something positive for GameStop, I'm like, no.
Yeah, obviously the pandemic
pre-order
hasn't helped. It's hastened it, but it's happening anyway. It just sort of hastened it.